Hello and welcome to Evolving on Purpose, a show I have created in hopes that I can inspire you to take the deep dive into discovering who you are and what you came here to do. Each week, I will have on individuals to share their unique journey to self-discovery and where their purpose is taking them. I will also do solo episodes to share what I am currently learning, practicing, or even just contemplating. So come on, what are you waiting for? Join me in Evolving on Purpose. Hello, today I have Roxy Rusek. I cannot wait to introduce you to her. Roxy is into all of the things and more that I'm into and does such a beautiful job. So she's a Reiki energy healer. She does Biofield Tuning, which is like my newest favorite modality, chakra alignment, breath work. She's an intuitive coach, and she uses the Akashic records. She wraps this all up into her own method of coaching, and I just can't wait to kind of hear her story and how she got to all of the things that she's doing now. So welcome, Roxy.
Thank you, Angela. I'm very happy to be here and share a little bit about me and learn from you and dive a little bit deeper into our zones of genius.
Yes. I just can't wait. So I've gotten to see what you do. You did a biofield tuning for me. You got to see what I did. I did a human design and astrology. So we've kind of gotten to know each other and understand kind of where our zones of genius, but I don't know anything about where you came from or how you got to all of this. So I can't wait to hear the story. So can you just talk about maybe growing up and how you got to be this magical little unicorn that you are now?
Absolutely. Thank you. And I love the unicorn analogy because I don't know, I see unicorns sometimes. But yeah, anyway, this is definitely not a path I grew up with. If you told me, 20 years ago that I would be doing energy healing, that I would be coaching, that I would be, doing anything with tuning forks, I would be like, that's not true. I actually had a reading with a psychic about 10 years ago, and he told this to me, and I'm like, I don't even know what Reiki is. I don't know how accurate this is, but here we are. So he was right. Actually, my healing journey started about 15 years ago, a little bit over 15 years ago. It starts innocently, when you go to your first yoga class, you start working with body, mind, and spirit and embodiment practices. And I feel like that's kind of like the gateway drug, right? In the best sense possible. I've always been reading self-help books. I've always been into astrology. So all of that kind of were little nuggets along the way that led me to today. What really was a turning point for me was traveling and going through experiences in different parts of the world that introduced me to different modalities. Like I did a retreat in Thailand where I learned about different methods of energy releasing massages and that deeper transcendental meditation, breath work. I've experienced really intense breath work sessions myself, and they were really, really transformative. And that's kind of what led me to wanting to study these things a little bit more. I really, really give a lot of my respect to my own journey of traveling because of that, I was able to glimpse into different modalities, different cultures, different methods of healing and doing things. And having your own experiences with them and having your own experiences through travel, you're really discovering yourself. You're becoming more self-aware. You're becoming more well-rounded when it comes to knowing different aspects of yourself. So my own journey led me to me being of service in that way. I've experienced things and I've gone through a lot of healing myself, and I now take people on their journeys based on what I've studied, based on what I've experienced, based on the gifts that opened up to me, the claircognizance, the intuition, the things that I studied in school, in university, every little thing that I even have from my past life has been a step on this journey to getting here. So I've had a lot of different careers. I I was in the corporate space. I want to say I transitioned in 2019. I up until that point, I had jobs. I worked in a career for 2 to 4 years. I would quit. I would travel. I would have experiences. I would learn. Then I would come back, get another job, and make the same mistake. Be in the job for about 2 years, 3 years, quit, travel again. And for me, that was the pattern that I recognized. And I said to myself, okay, this isn't serving you. This isn't who you're meant to be. This isn't how you're meant to serve. And 2019 was the last year I did that. End of the year, I decided to take myself to Bali. It was supposed to be a 3 week trip, but I had so many different realizations and experiences on that trip that I ended up staying 4 months. I it was, for me, it was like the moment of awakening. And you can tell me based on my chart. I know we did some of this before, but yeah, 2019 was that pivotal year of change. I said no more to that old pattern of me making the same mistakes. I was really good at my job. No matter what job I had, I was told that, I'm doing a good job and people like me in the job. And I've always had good relationships. I never burned bridges. And I'm still in touch with people and from my previous careers. But I always felt like there was more. I was constantly like searching for it, and I was constantly thirsty for that thing that I didn't know what it was. And I found it. It's that inner nugget, inner joy, the inner fulfillment that makes you feel whole. So this is how I got to where I am today. And end of 2019, I had a lot of spiritual awakenings. I started to feel different things. I became more open to feeling energy, to my sensory sensitivity. I became really sensitive to noise or to people. Like I couldn't really be in large crowds. It just got really overwhelming. So my mentor at the time told me, she said, you need to explore this, and you need to maybe open yourself up to the fact that you are a healer and you have a gift. And that's how it all started. I started to see things differently. I started to be more accepting of these gifts, and I started to study different methods, different modalities, and yeah, I'm a lifelong learner, so I don't ever want to stop learning. I learned through experiences, and I learned through each experience I have with a client, and I want to share the tools that I have, the wisdom that I have, and hold up a mirror for my clients and those who come to work with me to show them the beauty and the light that they have inside. And yeah.
Yes, I love that. I think 2019 was a huge year for everybody. We've had these life-changing transits that everybody is experiencing. There's nobody that's that's not opening up in some way. Maybe they're not maybe searching out these modalities to make the changes, but everybody. It's so interesting. My mom and we talk about how people that we would never think would even be able to connect any of this are talking about, childhood trauma and different things in a way that that we weren't even thinking about or looking at or talking about. And now it's just so in the forefront of everything. I think that, the lockdowns and all of that did help people to kind of take a step back and look through a different lens as well. But yeah, go ahead.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, you know this, but I'm not sure if our audiences know this, but we entered the age of Aquarius, right? So that shifted everything for a lot of people. And you're saying 2019 was that year for everybody, but ironically, that was before COVID. That was before, all the craziness that's going on in the world and like, with the current events that are happening. Energetically, it was already happening before it was so visible to us.
Yeah.
So I find that to be fascinating. And you're right. So many people are opening up to more spirituality and more alternative methods of healing and connecting to themselves because the previous system isn't working for us anymore. There's a lot of things that are failing us, and it's time to switch things up. It's time to become more in tune with our body, with our energy, with that deeper awareness, with information we get from astrology. And I think we're given so many, I always say this, we're given so many beautiful blueprints and roadmaps that it's time to utilize them more. It's time to study them and learn them so that you have a better perspective, better view of what's going on and how it's affecting you. It's a multidimensional way of getting to know yourself. I like to say that.
It is, and it can. I'm trying to figure out, and you share this. I really like to try to make things simple. You're very good at it because you have that 4323 in human design. And let me just introduce people to your design a little bit. You're a 4/6 emotional projector. If you know anything about human design, Roxy is a triple split, and a triple split is very, very interesting. It's a very small amount of the population, but it means that she has 3 systems that don't connect, that are giving information. And so when you're a triple split, you really need to kind of go out in the world and have lots of different ways to plug into kind of the collective, right? Riding a public bus or going to different cities and walking the city and just being connected by kind of a collective aura in lots of different ways to gain all of this information and be able to kind of synthesize it for people. And then being a projector, you're just so good at systems. You're so good at like looking into somebody's soul and and helping them, guiding them. And then you've got that the G center is open. And so whenever we see a G center open, they're very it's a mirror, right? You hold a mirror up, and you even talk about that
Oh
before
yeah,
you
this
even
is exactly. I know this is like it's even on in my like materials in my content that I'm here to hold a mirror for you to show you how beautiful you are and show you your potential. And that's like when you read from me, it was like yes, this all makes sense. Like, and these things like about yourself, but you see them in such a beautiful way that you're like, yes, that's me. How can I utilize this knowledge to my advantage? Like acceptance is a big part of like life, and with human design and GeneKeys and like even the chart you read from me, it's like yes, all of these things are good things. Not playing the victim of like your chart or your astrology, but you utilizing that as data, as information. Like okay, yes, this is me. Like let's align with those gifts. Let's align with those things that make me a genius in my own light.
Yeah. And I love any of these things could be something that you could say, oh, I don't have as much energy as other people, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I feel like I'm never sure of where my path is. Oh, I'm always looking for inspiration outside, right? These are your 3 open centers.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and sometimes you might fall into that, but when you get it read and you're like, no, these are my genius. This is where I'm
Mm-hmm.
open and it's genius for other people. And then I have my genius for myself, like this really strong, you have the 40-37, which is really that person that can connect people, that can connect tribes. You're the cross of planning. Like, we
Mm-hmm.
need these planners to bring people together and know how these communities can function and how different people can function. And you have that 16, which is very much tools, right? Like, I can learn this and I can learn this and I can share about it. And you just have so many gifts. And it's like when we utilize these tools in a way that we're creating a mindset of, what am I really good at? What did I come here to see in others and shine that light? And we use it really, really positively. We're all made, we're all made so
Yeah.
different, but we're all made to kind of work together. And when you understand your place and you start looking for the right people to kind of fill in other places and things like that, it's such a magical way to look at life. And then your astrology, you're you're this Pisces, right? So if
Mm-hmm.
we just looked at Pisces sun, Pisces is so creative and imaginative, but can be like, which way am I going? I'm not, like the two fish that are, the one wants to swim this way and one wants to swim that way. And you have your Mercury there too. So it's this creative mind. And then you have your moon. I wish everybody knew their moon, because moon is what others can do to make you feel safe, that what you can do for yourself to make you feel good
Mm-hmm.
emotionally, right? And you have a Gemini moon. And so knowledge, right? It's like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
some people they might have a Taurus moon. They need to go have a good meal and take a nap and, like have the material comforts, and that makes them feel really good. That my husband has a Taurus moon. So I'm like, okay, as long as he's fed, his house looks, like clean and nice, like he's happy, right? Like he just needs those material 3D things met. But you
I
need
love
like,
I love how you say this, because this is a theme for me this week, receivership. So our moon is kind of like our element of receivership. And you're right, like I constantly feel a thirst for knowledge. Like I want to learn, I want to grasp things, and sometimes it's easy to get stuck in that before you actually, show and share your gifts with the world. It's like some of my friends, make fun of me, like, oh, you're like doing another thing, you're learning this, you're learning that. Like maybe it's time to stop and actually, share your gifts with the world. I'm like, no, there's like more I want to learn. But the beauty around that is the connection to all of these things. You can then zoom out and see the overlaps, the higher truth to these things, the common language in all of these things. So I just wanted to share that. But yes, I love that you connect the moon sign to how you like to experience and how you like to feel from the outside.
yeah, and my kids are, I look at their moon, and so I know how to, if they're feeling, how do I talk to them? Luckily, both I have two kids, and they
Mm.
both have they have an Aquarian moon. They've got different,
Oh wow.
different rising and different suns, so they interact in a little bit different way. But I understand the Aquarian moon. I can use words. It's air, right? And they just want freedom. The Aquarian moon
Mm-hmm.
just wants freedom. And I get to know that they just need freedom. They need me to not tell them what to do, but give them choices. Right. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
it's just such a wonderful thing. I wish everybody knew their moon. They knew their spouse's moon. They knew their children's moon. They knew their parents' moon. Like, it just gives you so much information about how to ask, and, and,
Mm-hmm.
and just like you said, people just want to be seen. And if your friends really understood that you learning is filling your soul, they would be like,
Yeah,
oh my
yeah.
gosh, you are filling your soul wonderfully. You are doing such a, instead of
Yeah,
like,
fill that cup. Fill that cup.
so I just think that that's something I wish everybody knew. And so, yeah, so we have sun is kind of what we're reaching for. Moon is kind of how we feel, comfortable in our emotional well-being and how we receive. And then that rising sign, your ascendant, is kind of how you interact with the world. And you've got that Scorpio rising sign, which is like, I am deep. And I am, you know, like I am
Mhm.
here, but I'm going to protect myself too, right? That Scorpio is
Yeah,
very,
yeah.
you know, it's
Mhm.
like really protecting that really, really tender Pisces in you, right? Because the Pisces is
Mhm.
super sensitive, and Scorpio is very sensitive too, but it's got that thorn up, right? Like I'm going to protect myself, but it's so deep and so it really wants to get to the heart of you know, like transforming this lifetime. So I just
And I can't emphasize how accurate all of this is. And you asked me about self-assessments earlier, when we were chatting before we started, but this is another layer of self-assessment, right? It's data, it's knowledge, it's information of the self. And the more of that we have, sometimes we can get stuck in like the self-discovery, like self-assessment process, but it's not to put you or yourself in a box. It's to give you tools. It's to give you a map to how you can use this for your advantage and for the higher good of your life and your family and people around you, so that you can utilize those gifts. And it's it's so important. I feel like we should introduce human design, astrology, GeneKeys, and other like methods. I could go on, but to self study really. When we look back, the Mayans, the Romans, the Greeks, the thought leaders like Socrates, Plato, Albert Einstein all use astrology, and no one really like. I mean, we lost that connection to that from many centuries ago. There are, people who study it like yourself and who dabble in it like myself, but it would be so amazing if we actually applied this knowledge to self-discovery and to seeing, where the energies are leading us, and how they support us in our own healing process. I like to combine different themes when I work with people, when I work with energy healing, when I see that there's an opening. Like for example, this week with the Mayan New Year that just happened, and with Lionsgate, this is a really good time for self healing, for self discovery, to excavate, to clear years of karmic inventory, and we talked about ancestral stuff. But yeah, the astrology is such a beautiful guide.
can you imagine Can you imagine, like, because I could make a little handout, right? Like super quick that gave every parent, every teacher a real quick, this is how they present. This is when they're overwrought or whatever. It's because they're not getting this. It's, like this is how they
Mhm.
learn effectively because, Mercury goes retrograde, I think a third of the time. And anybody that I've seen with a Mercury retrograde in their chart, instead of A plus B equals C, they go straight to C and they work backwards.
Mm.
And I'm always just like, for me being a Gemini mind, I'm always like very quick to get where I'm going, right? And I
Mhm.
look at
Mhm.
some of the Mercury retrograde people in my life and I'm like, what are you thinking? What are you doing? And now I understand, right? I can kind of
Yeah.
watch the wheels turn. My dad's got Mercury retrograde and he was trying to fix this front step and he's like just like noodling over it forever and like working backwards to what he wants it to look like, but how do I get there? And it's just taking forever. I'm like, why don't you just ask somebody that knows what they're doing and just get in there, but he just likes to kind of
Yeah, yeah.
think about, and it's so interesting, and it would be so wonderful if everybody had these tools. Now I want to jump into the Lionsgate and the end of the Maya. Like you were talking about, we have this moment right now,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
it's been very interesting for me as well. All of a sudden in my life I have a lot of water coming in. I'm not a water sign person if we looked at the four elements in astrology, but I have a lot showing up in my solar return and things like that. And it's really drawn me into biofield tuning, which is why I found you, because
Mhm.
I've been getting these biofield tuning attunements for a couple of months now. My friend randomly found this gal that's so wonderful. I'm gonna have her on the podcast as well. And And so she tells me how wonderful this is. And then she gets a, and then I do it and I have all of these wonderful experiences. And then my mom gets it. And my mom is the most skeptical person. Her mom was very psychic, but they all in that family are like, nope, brick wall, show me proof, like they just like, and she got this biofield tuning and able to talk about the birth, how her birth was. She came out feet first from these tuning forks. And my mom was like, how is this possible? So biofield tuning has really been excavating for me this kind of deep ancestral things that are going on that I didn't have words for, that I didn't know were there. Can you talk about, let's first introduce what biofield tuning is, even if you could talk about, Eileen Makuzek and how she teaches and how you got into it, and the whole, like, what is it first?
Of course. Yeah. So, biofield tuning is a healing modality. It uses a set of tuning forks. And, I'm sure from your own study and experience of anything with biofield tuning and tuning forks, we're electromagnetic beings. We're all made up of energy. So we emit energy. We also store energy. And there's a field around us, like you can call it field of consciousness, an aura, biofield, electromagnetic field. It's around all of us. It's around all beings. Add another layer of the Akashic records. It's where all of the wisdom and knowledge lives. And Eileen Makuzek is the creator of this method, but tuning forks have existed for, centuries. Tuning forks were used to calibrate instruments. And our body, in a way, is an instrument. We are energy. So, and tuning forks are used to bring resonance to the body, to bring that flow, to calibrate our body. If there's tension in the body, it brings that tension to resonate with your original, with your organic beat of your energy, of your soul, of your being, of your body. So with biofield tuning, we also store memories, we store trauma, we store good memories, and this lives in us and around us. So this is exactly what you were saying, that we're able to identify certain things in your life that happen, during birth or in your ancestral line. And your biofield is the storage space for all of that. The area around us, your biofield, extends about 6 feet out left and right, and about 3 feet up and down above you. And if I could compare it, Eileen also talks about this, it's like the trunk of a tree. It has all of these layers, these years of memories. And with biofield tuning, we go through the field, we comb through the field, and the fork gives us feedback, either high pitches, low pitches, density, that gives us information. And that happens at different points in life, on either the right side of your body or the left, which is connected to the right side is masculine, and all things related to maybe your father's side or any masculine experiences you've had in your life, or the left, which is the right side of the brain. It's the opposite. And the mother side of the family, or any feminine aspects of you, or how you relate to those types of relationships. I also like to add that, it connects to the brain. Our right side of the brain is more visionary, the dreamer, the softer side of your persona, the feminine, if you will, the yin, and then the left side being the more structured, analytical. So we're able to take these maps and read from the field, or like the Akashic records, the Akashic field. It's all data. And as you know, sometimes trauma lives in this field, whether it's, things you're aware of in your life, or if it's ancestral. These themes come up, and the fork then brings resonance into this energy that is sometimes stuck in your field. So when we combine breath work, awareness, deep states of hypnosis so that you can go deeper in healing these stuck emotions, stuck energy, because stuck emotions is really stuck energy. And it's not until we release it, we calibrate it, that we're able to move through it so that it doesn't live with us in that state of contraction anymore. So it's really important to heal those aspects of yourself so that you can be more in flow, be in more alignment with yourself, to be free of anxiety or depression. And sometimes we don't even realize that these things are stored in the body until we actually go through the process. So if there are things that are keeping you stuck in life that you've already like thought of yourself, you went to talk therapy, you did work around your relationships with your mother, your father, your spouse, there are deeper things to do. And this is why I love where we're going with healing modalities and these, I like to call them life doctors, stepping up on stage, because some of the old methods are working, but they're not a multi-layer approach. I like to really remind everyone that we have to create change for things to happen. So nothing changes if nothing changes. If you're doing the same things over and over and you're just doing them because you're in a routine of doing them, then you're going to get same results. But when we start adding different layers to healing, to getting to know yourself, we're talking about knowing yourself through astrology, through human design, through biofield tuning. They are all beautiful tools. And the more you experience, the more you're going to discover about yourself, and following the energy that wants to be released and following the method that speaks to you. It's really important to allow yourself to receive and to become vulnerable in your self-discovery process.
Yeah. No, I love this method so much. I have always been into health and healing, and watched all of the self-development shows. I loved Oprah. I haunted the self-help books section when I was probably 10. Like, I was young.
Yeah, I hear you on that.
Yeah, I just loved all this stuff. And so as I'm moving through life, I think, okay, I'm gonna maybe become a dietitian, or be this like health coach. And I just loved health so much. And I just couldn't heal myself, right? Like, I could not. I was eating perfect. I tried every diet. I was vegan, I was vegetarian, I was paleo, I was AIP, which is even a stricter form of paleo. I was down to like 5 foods. I was doing everything I could to heal, and I couldn't get there. And I've always thought about it in a very holistic way. So instead of going to a medical doctor that might have prescribed me a pill, I went to a functional medicine doctor, and they're looking at my labs, and they're giving me the vitamin C and all the vitamins and things like that. But I'm still not healing, right? I mean, I'm looking at it from this holistic approach, and I'm still not healing. And so that was one thing at 2020. I finally threw my hands up in the air, and I'm like, this is not a physical thing. This is not a eat perfect, move your body perfect. This is something else. And that's when I started finding these other modalities of, I was meditating and tapping and things like that, but even biofield tuning has come in, and like you said, the instrument, right? If you think about an instrument that's out of tune, it doesn't sound good. It doesn't feel good, right? And so if we can tune our instruments to put out this beautiful tone, then we're going to think clearer. We're going to feel better. We're going to, and this idea of stored emotions. I'm not very good at accessing my emotions. I'm very good. I'm all masculine in my chart. My mind works very fast. I can heal my relationship with my parents in my mind easily. I talk to them. I think, it's logical. They did the best they could. Oh, this, and this happened. I can heal all that in my mind very easily, but I wasn't accessing the body without this biofield tuning. And the first time I got the tuning fork, I thought I was okay. I just knew that there's more that needed to be healed.
Mhm.
And that tuning fork was so high pitched because I had
Yeah.
so much anxiety my entire life that I was just shoving down under this layer of, I'm fine. I'm doing all this work. I'm fine. And the tuning forks just like they screamed, you're not fine, and by the end I'd never felt grounded in my life, and I felt grounded. I felt safe in my body for the first time in my life after my first biofield tuning session.
And that's really incredible to hear. And I'm jotting things down just so I don't forget, because you just said so many important things. But our emotions and our feelings are our biggest gift. And I can't emphasize that enough. And a lot of us who are left brain thinkers, the masculine dominant, they're in the mind a lot, right? So you can only do so much thinking, and of course we need our thinking mind to make rational decisions, to think of processes. But the right side of the brain is all about those feelings, emotions, the dreams, the visions, the the more feminine side of us, if you resonate with those adjectives. But um, feelings and emotions are data. They're data, and it's information. It's giving us information of what we still need to heal, of what we love doing, what is aligned or isn't aligned for us, what our intuition is telling us. So connecting all of these things. A lot of times we suppress emotions because of society, how we grew up, what was considered the norm. A lot of men don't like to express emotions, but all of that lives in our body, in our field. So not expressing something, we're doing ourselves a disservice. But we often express emotions and feelings from a wounded self. So through experiencing past hardships or heartaches or trauma, we create this self-defense mechanism that keeps us protected, but it doesn't serve us very, very well. For example, if we want to make a change in life, we're afraid to make a change because we're risk avoidant, because of something that might have happened in the past. Taking risks wasn't safe. Making decisions wasn't safe. Or being in a relationship, in opening up yourself to being vulnerable wasn't safe because you got shut down. Or all of these things live in us, and we don't realize how much subconscious data there is that we have to work with. And yeah, it lives in the body, and it manifests in different diseases and cancers, and like you said, anxiety and depression, and in fibromyalgia, or like vertigo, just different things that are manifesting in our body and in our environment. We don't even realize the patterns that we're in. Like going back to my patterns, right? I said I kept making the same mistake by going into the same jobs that weren't serving me, but that was a safe job. That was, you got the paycheck, you got a health insurance, you got this, and that. You went to school, so society told you that was a version of success that you subscribed to. And it took me a while to take a step back, realize that it wasn't serving my body, it wasn't feeding my soul, and it made me physically sick. So taking a step back, bringing that self-awareness again, and then healing through a lot of modalities, healing through biofield tuning, healing through energy work. That was something that was a major shift in my life. And I don't know if I said this, but I actually discovered biofield tuning and tuning forks because I was going through a detox after a breathwork workshop that I did. My body was just completely, I felt like I got hit, from left field, didn't know it was coming. And then the thing that really brought me back to myself was getting a tuning session. It almost brought back this peace, this calibration, this feeling of grounding. And I felt like I was just like nourished and felt really, really good afterwards. So that's kind of how I discovered tuning forks, through my own
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah. I know. I'm so glad that it's kind of rising. It's super interesting. So at the same time that I was that I had heard about this gal that does the biofield tuning, my mom heard a podcast on biofield tuning, and so she called me about it. And so we both ordered the sonic slider, which is kind of a self
Mm,
tool that you can use every day. And it's super interesting. So the sonic slider is just a tuning fork that's weighted, so you can use it at any time. And I don't know all of the details about it, but I just know how good it feels, right? So I got this tuner, and I sit there and I kind of rub it on my body while I'm watching TV, or while I'm usually in the morning I do it, and at night. And I just have it sitting out in the living room. And my son is 12, and he grew 7 inches in the last year. His knees hurt all the time because he's growing so fast. And so I had him start doing the sonic slider on his knees. Now he picks it up all the
mm-hmm,
time. I see him putting it on his chest. I see him doing his knees. I see him doing his head. My youngest son is 10. He has me do it every night before we go to bed. I just put it on, on his back and on his head, and and then he sleeps better. And yeah, so I'm using it. My kids are using it. I brought it to my mom's house the other day, and my nephews just picked it up and started using it. My 9-year-old nephew used it for 25 minutes, just constant. Used it on his chest, his back, his head. He just like knew that it felt so good.
mm-hmm.
So I love that there's a tool you can use on your own. So anybody can use the sonic slider. But I really feel like there's another level when you get a session from like a biofield tuner, a certified biofield tuner. My I kind of want to talk about, did you have anything you wanted to talk about the sonic slider before we talk about the session?
Yeah. Actually, this is great because I want to say that the sonic slider is like the hammer in the toolbox. It's such a multi-purpose tool. The frequency of it is 93.96, and it's the 12th harmonic of the Schumann resonance. So the Schumann resonance, as some of you may know, it's the heartbeat of the earth, and it's a very grounding, it's a very healing frequency. So we often use the sonic slider on the body. As you said, weighted forks are used mostly on the body. And it's like getting a vibrational massage. It's this like micro movement of the fork that penetrates deep through your skin, into your muscle, into your skeletal structure, into your nervous system. And it really brings that resonance through all of those layers of the body. And I've used it on my face as well. I've used it on my hip. I've had a really long-standing hip pain that is also caused by, like lifetimes of trauma and ancestral stuff that I've been working through, and like guilt and shame and feelings around safety and money. So there's so many different layers to different pains in the body. And like you said, you can certainly work on yourself by giving yourself like a vibrational massage, but there's so much depth to these points in your body that it's really good to dedicate some, self-care and self-love by seeing a healer professional who does the tuning and any other, energy work, because it's, you're essentially being held. And even myself, I attend sessions from others because it's different when you do things yourself and then when you actually get into that state of receivership and allow yourself to completely surrender and receive and let go. And we talked about deeper states of consciousness and hypnosis. You're able to go deeper without having your active mind thinking, right? To just surrender, to allow yourself to receive whatever the Akashic records are showing you, whatever intuitive hits you're getting, whatever memories want to pop up. So it's a beautiful dance between those two people who are taking you on that journey and you as the receiver of that journey.
Yeah,
So that's
and
all I want to say about the sonic slider.
let's talk about why this even works, because you used to have to go and meet in person with a tuner. I think when Eileen Mukuzek first started, you had to be in the same room, but then I heard her talk about like COVID and different things kind of forced her to try the distance healing, which I've had Reiki distance healing and things like that, and they do really work. And if we can talk about that a little bit. So when you did my session, we were on a Zoom call, and I can hear the forks, but I don't think that the listening of the forks is the only thing that's doing something. But yeah, I loved how you kind of meshed all of these different modalities. So you kind of started me in a little bit of a hypnosis, like you were kind of bringing my body to this very calm, in kind of connecting so that my thinking brain slowed down. And then you really worked the breath work in there a lot, which I really enjoyed because I forget to breathe really deep and do that. So it was
so
really
important.
a wonderful reminder. And so, yeah, and then I want to talk about what happened in the session, but can you talk about why you can do it anywhere?
Yes, I love this question. And this is so big because this is all about connecting spirituality, quantum physics, power of intention, and power of energy and our thoughts. So energy is infinite. It's transferable. It exists in the records. It's all about holding potential in the ether. Everything exists in the ether. And according to quantum physics, energy can be transferred somewhere else at a distance. It's the power of intention, of our will, that creates our reality. Think about it. If you think bad thoughts about yourself or about, your situation in life, you're going to attract more of that. If you think about, good things, you manifest the good things. This is how the power of our energy, the power of intention, the power of our mind and heart work. We emit a frequency. So comparing it to like a Wi-Fi signal or radio, we can't see it. We know it exists. It's there. It works. It connects us. We're talking here today at a distance. Energy is the same way. And healing happens in that same way as well. We don't even have to be on screen for this to work. I personally like to. Eileen has done so many studies in the physical aspect of administering a session and virtual, and it's so powerful that it works. And this is not just in this method. This is with Reiki. This is with quantum surgery. This is with hypnosis as well. It works at a distance. My first Reiki session ever as a receiver was done without having my mentor on the screen, and it was so powerful that I knew right then and there it works. And that is one of the main reasons why I chose to pursue energy healing, because of what I felt in my body. You just have to believe it, and you have to surrender to the possibility of it. So yeah, this is all about, this is how quantum physics works. And science and reality is all about combining what we know and what we don't know. So the spiritual aspect of things and believing, having faith, and the magic of everything that we don't see. Love is one of those things. We don't see it, but it exists. And the physical aspects of things and the mechanics, how things work. So biofield tuning, other methods of healing, is a combination of that. It's combining the metaphysical and the physical into one. So if I hope that makes sense. If I was a little too out there, let me know. I'll try to reel it back a little bit. But yeah, the power of thought and the power of the energy that we emit is so powerful. It creates reality. Yeah. And that's how manifestation works. That's how magic works. That's how the power of our own belief systems work. So if you believe you can heal something, you're going to heal it. If there's absolutely no way you believe in that, that's exactly what's going to happen. You're going to feel stuck in something. So,
Well,
um,
if we took somebody from, like pre-electronic age and brought them to this time, they would think
mhm.
all of this is magic and maybe witchcraft, or
Yeah,
maybe, like
exactly.
they would be
Yeah.
like, how is this possible? We've just kind of slowly creeped into all of these things that are very magical that we don't even think about it. We don't think about how the radio works, or the Wi-Fi works, or the telephone work. I mean, it used to be you had a cord, so it made sense, right? Now we don't even have a cord. Like, we don't need.
But you know what? I'm going to take us back, even way, way, way back. All of this existed before. This is the power of healing that the indigenous cultures used. Maybe they didn't have tuning fork, but they had other medicine. They had connection to spirit. They had astrology. They had, different rituals and ceremonies that celebrated life, or like birth of somebody, or different aspects of life. And that's how you healed back then. You didn't
Yeah.
have, the pharmaceuticals, you didn't have different things. But even with quantum surgery, that was a thing back then, but we don't really talk about it in the mainstream.
Well, it was
And
interesting because we didn't have so many distractions and so much ease of
yes, yes,
information,
yes.
because, back when astrology was first being discovered, it was because they connected to the planets. They watched what happened, and they connected. And just like, I can't remember his name. He studied the peanut. He talked to the peanut and had like 200. And this guy is, I'll put it in the show notes. He's actually revered at Iowa State University, the university I went to, for discovering all these uses of the peanut. But he talked to the peanut. He asked it what it wanted to
Mhm.
be.
Mhm.
He
Mhm.
talked to, but they don't talk about that at the university. But yeah,
Again, quantum healing. This is all quantum healing. And now that you say about the peanut, I'm going to tell you about the water. So there's a doctor. His name is Dr. Masaru Emoto. I actually looked this up because I
yeah, I
forgot his name.
love the
But
studies on him.
yeah, yeah, the study of water, and the intention, the power of intention, and the power of thought and programming water. He did a study where he focused, bad thoughts on this one jar of water, and then good thoughts on this jar of water, and the crystalline structure of these waters were completely different. So this goes to show you, this is proof, this is science, how energy works on literally changing the DNA of something. So we
Yeah.
have this power, we have
Yeah.
this access to this medicine inside of us that, like you said, we all should know, but there's so many distractions and other things that are creating so much noise, that we are really like far from the truth of all of that. And I will also add that, the connection to our own self, to nature, that is, the biggest gift you can give to yourself, and one of the most important medicines that we have access to.
Yes. You know what? And I love that all of these ways to heal and reverse age and do all of this can be free. So I'm going to put the water, I'll put that in the show notes, because I want everybody to look at that.
Mhm.
That is something that I kind of fell off. I do have a little water structure that structures my water next to
Mhm. Mhm.
my water, so I kind of fell off the wagon. But I used to put a sticky note on my water container, and every single time with a mantra, every single time I poured a glass of water, I would kind of speak that mantra into the water and then drink it. And I mean, you could go on a TikTok or on a Instagram or whatever and find these things where people have talked to some cooked rice, an apple, like all of these things. One was negative and one was positive.
Mhm.
And the one that was negative just wilted, died, shriveled up. And the one that you said positive affirmations lasted weeks and weeks and weeks without any mold or anything growing on it. So just think about what you're saying to yourself in the mirror. what you're saying to yourself. Like, as women or, human beings, we all want to, age better and feel better. This is something you can do every single day, is what am I saying to myself? Am I speaking positively? And being very careful what you say and think about other people, because you're putting that energy on them as well.
Absolutely.
So please, please, please think about this. This is a real thing. I want to jump into.
I will add this too. It's also what environment you're in and what you're feeding yourself. So that's the frequency you feed yourself, in terms of nutritious food, in terms of content. If you're constantly scrolling, self-comparing, or if you're constantly listening to music that is disrupting that like inner peace, or constant commercials on the radio, constant like commercials on TV, it's all programming. Everything around us is programming. So you can program yourself to believe different things that are serving you or not serving you. So take a look at, do a little assessment of what your environment looks like, what you're feeding your ears, your eyes, your exposure in general, not just, the things that you're saying to you, but what's subconsciously around you, what your group of friends is, is feeding you, what your social media is feeding you, what your foods are giving you, the nutrition. And the water is so important. It's such an important, we're 70% water. So the frequency of water that you feed yourself will change your internal structure too. So positive affirmations with water is so, 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 important. And I don't always remember it either, but when I do, I really, say a little prayer blessing. And sometimes even when I take a bath, I set intentions for that bath water as well. So
yeah. And every time you take a shower, that's one thing. When I studied meditation, I'm not the best meditator because my mind is extremely busy, but being mindful. So when I take a shower, I don't go in with lists or things to do or thinking about. I'm very, very, I focus on the water hitting my head. I focus on the cleansing feeling of the water. I focus on where, like while I'm washing my body, focusing really positive intention in, and then I do some lymph massage while I'm in there. Why not get that lymph moving?
All these juicy things. Oh my goodness, you're speaking my language. I love, like, I don't know, it's just like a treat to me. It's like having dessert, doing body work, receiving, giving yourself that. And I will share this at the end, but I do have a little gift for our listeners that focuses around that.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much. Yeah. I just want to dive in really quick because I can't believe how long we've already been talking. But
we could chat for days.
I know. So I just want to dive in real quick. So we had my session. And so you're tapping in, and I've had some sessions before. So I've kind of cleared some things, but you're just kind of asking my body where it needs the work. Right. And so it went to sacral and throat. And so my first session with my Biofield tuner that I've been using for a little bit now, we got some really stuck energy in the throat. And as soon as she hit the tuning forks on the throat, I immediately felt this choking sensation. She started choking, and we kind of talked about how she was feeling this energy on the masculine side, which is my dad's side of the family, and that it was kind of this ancestral thing that had been, kind of dropped down, that this maybe there was a hanging or somebody was choked. And I just, like we cleared it. It was fine. I went on with life. My dad, who doesn't call me very often, and I don't talk to him very often, called me after every session that I'd had with Maggie. We always worked on my right side. So then fast forward to having a session with you. We didn't talk about any of this. You're tuning in my throat. All of a sudden you're kind of choking. I'm choking. You mentioned the same kind of energy, masculine side, somewhere in there. And so, kind of work on it. And then I get out of the session and I call my dad and I'm like, do you know any, this is the second time this has come up by two different people. Do you know anything? And he's just like, no, my family's normal. It's nothing's happened. And I'm just like, okay. So then I start going on this binge and I'm looking through my, like I'm looking at graves to see what like the lineage and
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
this
yeah.
whole ancestral binge. And I come to this no information. Everything else I can trace all of my ancestors back to Norway, Germany. Like I can trace them all back to like 1700s, who they married, who they, like all of that, except this my dad's my dad's dad.
Mhm.
And it's just a question mark. He died at 25. It doesn't say anything about him being in the war or anything. It doesn't say, it says nothing. He died at 25. He had a son that was 1 when he died. That was my grandpa's dad. And that's it. And well, as I'm looking at it, my vision's blurring. I'm getting dizzy. I freak out.
Mm.
I'm like, God protect me, angels protect me, and kind of like got freaked out a little bit, right? Because I was feeling, and so then I do a little protection and send him light and whatever, and then I'm fine. And then I'm telling my husband about it in the same, I thought I was going to pass out. I got all dizzy.
Mhm. Mhm.
It was so wild. And I'm like, what do I even do with this?
Yeah, like I said, it's all energy, and sometimes we don't realize how far back it can go. That this seed gets passed on, and we take a look. Like your dad said, like my life was normal. We're a normal family. Well, first of all, what is normal, right? Like everyone has their own, cocktail and recipe of life experiences. What's normal is a relative thing, right? Like I don't like the word normal because we're all unusual and that's something to embrace. But yeah, so even if there's something in that you can't put your finger on, the fact that we address that energy is an invitation to heal that, even if it's unknown. A lot of times I get asked, do I have to remember the thing for that happened to me that gives that feeling or emotion or that reaction? Not necessarily. It is there is some kind of level of comfort knowing where it comes from, but acceptance and understanding, giving yourself and that feeling and your line of family love and compassion and forgiveness in that state of emotion, that's how we heal it. And if it reveals itself to you, then great. Like it wants to be known. If it doesn't, you don't need to go there. It's something that happens to you, right? No one else can give that. I can tell you what feeling and reaction I had, which was that of you know lack of breath, like choking and like not being able to swallow and breathe. That was what I felt, and that's as you shared, that's what you felt too, and your other practitioner. And it's such proof that all this information exists in the Akashic field, in your field of consciousness, in the ether. And when we're attuned, we can be receptive to it. We can receive it. So don't worry if you can't pinpoint what it was. It's already on its way to being healed, and it takes some time for these things to calibrate and create new neural pathways of how your body is reacting to memories like that, or to these biophotons in your field. They take on a different shape. You bring that resonance back into your body. It recycles it. Our bodies are so wise and so intuitive, and when we heal these memories, when we heal these energies, they get recycled back. So they're still going to be in your field, but they won't hold that tension or that weight anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And for me, my dad has never been able to speak about emotions whatsoever. I didn't see my
That makes
grandpa
sense
speak
too. Yeah,
about emotions.
yeah.
He was funny. He was a comedian, like he just
Mhm.
joked, and my dad just kind of glosses over, I mean, he can't even hardly say, I love you. I say, love you. And
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
just kind of hangs up. And I'm like, how do you not just say love you back? Like, I don't understand it. But it's okay. And I feel like doing my work can kind of release this
Yes.
so that I don't have to maybe look for male attention that'll say, oh, kind of hold me like that, because I didn't have that. My dad was physically there but not emotionally, right?
Mm-hmm.
And his dad was physically there but not emotionally, and possibly his dad was physically there but not emotionally, because of this not having this male figure that was, possibly whatever happened there, so just kind
And
of healing that myself, right?
yeah, no, and it's so amazing that you brought that up because so many men of that generation have the same problem, or not problem, have the same predisposition. And I do want to touch upon this because this is super important too. This is when we get further and deeper into biofield. We do work with your own biofield, with the data from your ancestors, your past lives even, but also collective consciousness. So part of collective consciousness for a lot of masculines out there is the suppression of feelings. It's the suppression of expression through saying, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and being vulnerable through the art of sharing. For women, and when I tune a lot of women, there's a lot of sacral tension. So, almost all women have been suppressed in that passion expression, the sexual energy, and that is part of our collective subconscious and our collective trauma. So that gets stored in our bodies as well. And this is something that I feel like I really think it's important to address, because we may be battling some of these emotions and traumas and not realize where they're coming from, but a lot of times they're collective as well. And because it wasn't safe back then to maybe share emotions, because you're going off to war and you don't want to fall apart before going to war, you want to be strong through it. Or with women, women were suppressed in expression and their needs and their creative flow and their ability to receive and receive openly and in a way that they needed it. So all of these things are factors in how we feel in our body. And we're really taking massive leaps now, massive leaps forward, by healing ourselves, in opening up these channels and opening up our chakras, and healing these traumatic or these trauma points.
Yeah. No, I love that so much. I do a lot of sacral work just from, I mean, like you said, it is collective, but even just birthing children and giving them so much
Mm-hmm.
of my sacral energy, trying to find that creativity, that passion, that joy of what I want to do again, and so human design and GeneKeys and astrology has given me so much, but I love this extra layer that's really helping tune that and give it energy, because when you're not grounded, you're not pulling all of the energy up. The
Mm-hmm.
first time I got tuned, it was all my top chakras. They were all wide open. I was
Mm-hmm.
able to think and create and all of that, but nothing else. And I've had like people work on my chakras a lot, but it didn't feel like it held the same way that doing the biofield tuning is helping to kind of hold that energy. It's almost like chiropractic for your chakra, like you kind
Yeah,
of have
yeah,
to
it
keep
is.
doing it to kind of get that energy to stabilize and know how to continuously hook up that way. But yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And sometimes we need that external something for things to work, right? So you talked about the elements, right? There's a lot of there's a lot of water in me. There's not a lot of fire. So I know that what I need is sometimes that external fire to light some fire under my ass to get things going. But I know that my water energy provides a sense of comfort and ease for somebody who doesn't have a lot of water in their chart and in their life. So this is a really great reference point to pay attention to. The bottom chakras, right? That's a lot of earth. That's a lot of grounding. If you're up here, you're very open spiritually. You're very creative. You're intuitive. But sometimes we need to balance out those two different polarities so that we feel like, grounded and open at the same time. So there's that channel of flow through our entire body. And that's our Kundalini energy as well. That's our life force energy as well. That's what feeds our soul, feeds our body, that chi energy, that life energy. So like I said, we could talk for days about all these different things, and it's having different languages to essentially energy and information and data that's out there. So I love the study of these languages, and I love talking about them. I love that we found each other so that we could share through those different lenses and really like bring it back to knowing yourself at a deeper level and healing yourself through a lot of these layers.
I totally agree. And I love what you said about the Aquarian age. I can really feel that we're moving into this age of really individual care, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're getting to be, that's what I love about the tools that I use to really show you who you are and how to interact with yourself and others. And then these tools that you're using are really helping every individual heal in their individual ways. And I just feel like that's what we're moving into. It's not so much like a prescription for everybody. It's what do you really need? Who did you really come here to be? And I just love this conversation so much. Can you share just a little bit about what you offer to people and how they can get in touch with you?
Of course, yes. I work with people one-on-one in life design coaching. So that is looking at your life in a 360 way, and we address any blocks, any stagnations, any trauma points. We renovate them, and we change perspectives from going from being where you are and then getting to where you want to be. And there's a lot of action steps and healing that happens in between. So I offer one-on-one personal sessions with, healing, but also coaching. I have group programs happening. One is called the Inner Architectress, and it focuses on that breakdown of old structures and going back to the foundations of life and you and your values, and really assessing to see if you're on your most aligned path. This is great for people who are in transitions in their life, whether it's relationships, careers, or just they want more out of life. We do a deep dive into like the 3D aspect of life, but also healing those things that are keeping you stuck. I also have Masterpiece, which is a 6-month journey, also individual. And this is more metaphysical. We go into your relationships with your mother, with your father, with your ancestors, with your past lives, with your higher self. You connect to the higher self and form that deeper relationship. Any attachments that you might have picked up in life that are keeping you stuck. So there's a lot of energy healing in that container. But everything is customizable. I do work with, like I said, individual sessions, but I really recommend if, you're new to self-discovery in your own healing, to really invest in yourself, not for anybody but yourself, because for me, this has been a major, this is what made a difference in my life. And having mentors and having people who support you and having accountability when you don't feel like doing the work. There's, like I said, there's a difference between doing things on your own, and then there's difference. You can get to the next level when you're working with somebody else. So I don't offer anything that I haven't tried before, and I don't preach anything that I haven't done myself. So that's a testament to really my dedication to this work and to how I am here to serve. And it took me a while to get here, and I want to be able to hold that mirror for somebody else and really show them that, you know, there is a quantum leaping way of doing this, and then there's, you know, a deeper way to getting to know yourself through these different maps and languages. But I did want to say also, we talked about this, I do have a free toolkit that I would like to offer your readers. It is a free retreat in a day. It's all about creating healing rituals in the heart, space, and place. So you can sign up on my website, which Angela will share in her notes. And this is to jumpstart you onto your healing journey. You're going to get meditations, you're going to get ideas, you're going to get instructions on exactly how to program water, how to give yourself massages, and how to do all these self-care things that are just, you know, a beautiful one-on-one way of how to start getting to know yourself deeper and taking care of yourself.
That is amazing. I can't wait. I'm going to sign up myself and try out these tools. I love taking that time to really connect to yourself and your own healing and health and wellness, because when you feel good, you get to change the lives of everybody around you.
Mm-hmm.
I am so careful about my energy. So when I walk into a room and maybe people are going through whatever they're going through, my energy can raise them up a little bit. My energy can kind of hold them in love no matter what. And so when we're doing the work, we really, a rising ship, or a rising tide lifts all ships. Is that what they say? But it's true, right? So
true. When we fill our cup, we can overflow and give to others. But the most important thing is actually doing it. So many people have the tools, but they don't use them. It's about holding yourself accountable. It's being your own constant, and it's committing to your own journey and your healing. Commitment is such a big thing. So getting in a relationship with yourself. That's all I'm going to say to wrap up this beautiful interview.
Yes. No, this was so much fun. I hope that everybody got so much out of it. I will put everything in the show notes. Check out Roxy. She is walking her talk, you know, doing the things, and it's not easy to take all of these parts of yourself and put yourself out there and help others in this way. And I just commend you for doing it and taking care of yourself so you can take care of others. Thank you so much for being on the show. Everybody check her out.
Thank you, Angela. I can't wait for, you know, your viewers to tune in.
Thank you everybody so much for listening. To stay up to date on everything that is going on with Evolving on Purpose, go to evolvingonpurpose.org, and from there you can follow me on Facebook or Instagram, and I'll update with any of the newest things that are coming out. I'm going to start setting up some groups and teaching and things like that. If you would like a reading, you can also go to evolvingonpurpose.org and schedule a reading. I do them over Zoom, so anywhere in the world you can have a reading. Thank you everybody, and as always, let's keep evolving on purpose.